Mega Man X is a very extreme game, as most of you gamers are well aware, but even the most skilled of gamers can still become overwhelmed by this whole Mega Man X thing. Which is why we're here today, to go over the easiest level from every Mega Man X game, X through X8. You know, so hopefully all those noobs out there can start off with something easy. Unless, of course, the easiest level is a Sigma Fortress, in which case I guess you're on your own. Mega Man X1 is a masterpiece of a game that's full of levels for us to take a look at. Before we start getting into the nitty-gritty though, I do want to go ahead and say that I am not counting the intro stages or the refight stages or any of these stupid stages like that, alright? So I don't want to see any wise guys in the comments section. Also, I'm not going to be taking any boss battles into account when choosing the easiest stage, since this is a video on the easiest levels and not the easiest bosses. I mean, that makes sense, right? Come on, guys. Anyway, starting off, let's go over some of the levels that are definitely not going to be the easiest, like Launch Octopus's stage. I don't think I would call this stage the hardest level from Mega Man X, but if you think this is the easiest level for Mega Man X, then you need to call a psychiatrist. Water levels generally are not very fun, but I will say they are handled very well in Mega Man X. There are still different physics when you're underwater, just like in every other platforming game, but somehow in Mega Man X it stays fun the entire time and is not annoying at all. That being said though, this stage is certainly not the easiest, and neither is Boomer Kuwanger's stage. I love Boomer Kuwanger a ton, trust me, he even won the Best Maverick from Mega Man X award. But this stage and its vertical design can be really annoying to deal with. I will say, vertical stages in Mega Man X are much more tolerable than vertical stages in the classic Mega Man games, just because you can't wall jump in those games, but that does not mean vertical stages in this game are suddenly all easy. This one isn't that bad in all honesty, but the enemies can really get in your way if you aren't careful, so I'm not letting this level get labeled as the easiest. Sting Chameleon stage also has a few challenging parts, but as far as platforming goes, it's really not that bad at all. The only thing that might mess you up are all the enemies seem to do a lot more damage than normal, but don't worry, I believe in you guys. You can all beat Sting Chameleon stage, trust me. Well, as long as you are subscribed at least. Armored Armadillo stage is one of my favorites, but in terms of difficulty, it is pretty run-of-the-mill. This level is mostly just fun, but there are a couple of spikes that you might miss, and that big fat thing with a spike can do a lot of damage if you aren't careful as well. The Spark Mandrill stage is also on the easier side as far as this game goes, but it is still far from the easiest. Lots of the enemies do a good bit of damage, and all the electrical currents become more difficult to dodge as the stage goes on. There is also this weird bubble mini-boss thing, and I am counting the mini-bosses since they aren't the same as the other boss battles, but I plan on making a separate video talking about mini-bosses in the future if you guys will be interested in that, so let me know down in the comment section if you are. Storm Eagle stage is certainly one of the easier ones, but I still would not call it the easiest just because of how many unique ways there are to fall down a bottomless pit. Chill Penguin stage is of course super easy and definitely one of the easiest stages in the game, but once you beat it, Flame Mammoth stage actually becomes even easier. Without the Chill Penguin effect, Flame Mammoth stage is arguably a bit harder than Chill Penguin stage, but I mean, come on, who's going to beat Flame Mammoth before Chill Penguin? What are you, insane? With the lava being frozen over though, the main obstacle in this stage is gone, which is why it's so easy. But we don't know for sure if it is the easiest of all time because there are still a couple of Sigma levels that we need to check. Sigma 1 is obviously not going to be the easiest level. I mean, it's fun for sure, but it's not easy. Sigma 2 also isn't much better in terms of difficulty. The breaks you get during the refights are helpful, I guess, but due to what I said earlier, I feel like that shouldn't count anyway. Sigma 3 is kind of a refight level, which makes me not want to count it, but the platforming sections in between the refights are definitely challenging enough to save it from this video anyway. But the easiest level from Mega Man X1 is pretty obvious, being Sigma 4. Yep, that's right, the final level of Mega Man X1 is actually the easiest level. I mean, this level is just a vertical hallway with weird caterpillars crawling out of the walls, but those caterpillars just help you fill up your sub-tanks, which makes it even harder for you to die. Yeah, I think we all knew this was the easiest level in Mega Man X, but I couldn't help but build up the suspense, so yeah. Sigma 4, the final level in Mega Man X, is the easiest level from Mega Man X. Mega Man X2 is the perfect sequel to the original Mega Man X, but I would argue this game is maybe even easier than the last. But really, they're both kind of easy games in general. This time, let's start off by looking at the Sigma stages, since I'm sure we already know those will not be the easiest levels. All of the Sigma or X-Hunter levels in this game are super fun, and some of my favorite levels in the franchise, and despite being easy overall, they certainly are not the easiest levels in this game. The first stage is super fun to speedrun, but it is covered in spikes from head to toe, which is super annoying to deal with if your name is Mega Mega Man X. There are also weird enemies that try to squish you with walls, and I hate those guys a lot. They don't even squish me successfully, but I still hate them. Sigma 2 is one of the shortest stages in the game, but there are even more spikes than the last level, and Sigma 3 is honestly more of the same. All three of these levels are great and pretty fun in general, but none of them are going to be the easiest. Back to the Mavericks now. I'm going to start with a shocker and go ahead and confirm Wire Sponge does not have the easiest stage. Yes, I go to this guy first, and yes, I do still think his stage is easy, but there are just way too many dang spikes in this level. I'm sorry. I've already done this for the classic Mega Man series, but if you want to see a video on the stupidest spike from every Mega Man X game, please subscribe and let me know down below. Magna Centipede has a very cool level, but we all know it is not the easiest. It can be really easy, especially if you don't get squished by those blocks, but there are way too many dang mini-bosses to call this level the easiest. Same goes for Morph Moth's level. It's really not too hard, but the mini-bosses can be annoying if you aren't prepared. Plus, again, tons of spikes. Bubble Crab stage is honestly fairly easy, but it is a water level, which automatically makes it a little bit harder. In all seriousness, this stage is definitely one of the easiest stages in this game, but I cannot call it the easiest just because of the few times I've blindly jumped in this level and landed inside of a bottomless pit. It sucks, it's not fun, and it's happened way more than I'm willing to admit on a YouTube video. Crystal Snail has a beautiful stage, but it's pretty easy to get cheesed on. You should be fine, especially if you're being careful and everything, but these big fat ice block things can clip you at really weird angles, which always results in instant death. Plus, the heart tank is one of the hardest ones to get in the entire game, and you know what? I'm counting that in the consideration. Overdrive Ostrich has another one of the easier stages in this game, but one of its enemies went on to become a full-on Maverick in Mega Man X7, which means there's some sketchy things happening in this level. You are able to steal motorcycles in this level, which is awesome, and overall, there aren't really too many obstacles that can kill you, but it's really easy to space out and just drive your motorcycle into a hole. I mean, come on, we've all done it. We've all crashed our motorcycle into a hole in this level. Don't even try to blame it on the sandstorm. No one will believe you. Wheel Gator stage is another one of my favorites because not only is this design beautiful, but also it's super fun to play. There are a couple of holes and spikes here and there in case you decide you want to mess up and die for some reason, but for the most part, this level is really easy and shouldn't give anyone too much trouble. But the easiest level from Mega Man X2 is without a doubt Flame Stag stage. I love this stage a lot, but we all know this is super easy. There's basically one main gimmick throughout the entire stage, which is lava. This is logical since we are inside of a volcano, but most video game lava kills you in one hit, while this stuff does not. I'm not complaining or anything though. I love this level and I think it's perfect, but maybe if the lava was one hit kill or something, I might change my mind. But nope, Flame Stag stage is not challenging at all. In fact, it is the easiest level from Mega Man X2. Mega Man X3 is finally starting to get some love in my comment section, and for good reason. I love Mega Man X3, and it might even be my favorite Mega Man X game of all time, but I changed my mind about that a lot, plus we can talk about that in another video. Starting off with the Sigma stages though, I feel like these are very similar to Mega Man X2 Sigma stages, but maybe a little bit harder if anything. Sigma 1 is probably the easiest of the two in this game, but the spikes and enemies make it difficult to refer to in the same sentence as the word easy. Sigma 2 is probably the hardest of the Sigma stages because not only does it have the regular Sigma shenanigans, but it also has these stupid spike walls where the only way up is to ride snails. I hate riding those stupid snails. And of course, the last stage is the refight stage, and we're not counting those in this video, so let's move on to the Maverick levels. Tunnel Rhino may have one of the most generic looking levels in the entire game, but he certainly does not have one of the easiest. This level is hard in the most stupid and frustrating of ways, but I'll get into that in more detail if I ever do a video on the hardest level from every Mega Man X game. Toxic Seahorse also has a pretty difficult stage. It seems like the enemies in this level do way more damage than a lot of the others, and there's even a mini boss to tank some of your health halfway through. And if you are able to ignore the fact that it is also a water level, good luck ignoring the foul sewer stench. Neon Tiger stage surprisingly looks a lot harder than it really is. It is still hard and far from the easiest with all these spikes everywhere combined with the heavy enemy placements. You would think it would just be impossible, but it's not. Don't worry guys, I tested it out myself. It's definitely not impossible. I've beaten it numerous times. Everything's okay guys, don't worry. Volt Catfish's stage is the complete opposite though, because it seems like it should be easy without being easy at all. There are a few spike elevator things that you would think are the hard parts, but nope, these are easy. The enemies are the annoying part of this level. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but these enemies in this level specifically always manage to do a ton of damage on me, and I don't like that one bit. Blast Hornet stage is a bit easier, but still not the easiest. It feels pretty run-of-the-mill, and it even has this big fat elevator section where you're able to build up a good amount of health for your sub-tanks if you ever need to. Gravity Beetle stage seems similar to Blast Hornet stage for some reason, but I don't exactly know why. Maybe I'm just crazy. This stage does seem a bit easier if anything though, but it's still not the easiest. I might call it the most beautiful stage though, because this level, don't even get me started, this level looks so good. This means the easiest level is down to either Blizzard Buffalo or Crush Crawfish. Now you would think that Blizzard Buffalo is automatically the easiest level because not only is he an ice boss, but also he's who most people go to first. But let me explain to you guys why Crush Crawfish's stage is actually the easiest. Blizzard Buffalo stage is certainly easy, don't get me wrong, I always go here first just for the dash boots and that one sub-tank, but as far as difficulty goes, there's this one screen that makes the entire stage exempt from being the easiest. The combination of ice wind and all the enemies trying to kill you right here really makes getting mixed up into this mess a grave mistake. But Crush Crawfish's stage doesn't have any of that. In fact, what does Crush Crawfish's stage have in terms of difficulty? That's right, nothing. Nothing at all. Which is why Crush Crawfish has the easiest level from Mega Man X3. Mega Man X4, the first Mega Man X game that I will actively acknowledge the release of on the PlayStation 1. As you can see, this game is where the graphic style changed for the first time, but on top of that, I've always felt like Mega Man X4 was significantly easier than the first 3 entries. It could just be because I got into Mega Man X4 after I'd already beaten the original 3 games tons of times, but I've never really had trouble with any of the levels in this game, which makes narrowing down the easiest pretty difficult. I will go ahead and say though, Jet Stingray stage is not the easiest due to forcing me to ride a motorcycle. It's a good idea and everything, I don't hate the idea of riding a motorcycle, but this stage is stupid and I hate it. The Cyber Peacock stage is one of the easier stages I'd say, but it's a little bit confusing and gives me a headache sometimes. And headaches make it harder to play Mega Man, so this stage isn't easy after all. The Split Mushroom stage is also pretty easy. There's a lot of vertical climbing, which normally would be a challenge, but somehow just isn't in this level. There are horizontal sections too, of course, which are easy, but there is a mini-boss thing in this stage that makes the entire thing challenging by proxy, so Split Mushroom stage is also not the easiest. Magma Dragoon probably has one of the harder stage, but it's hard for me to say that because I love this stage and feel like it's incredibly easy. If there wasn't any ride armor in this level, then of course it would be a much different story, but there is ride armor in this level, so it's not a different story. Slash B stage is so easy that it's almost forgettable, but I guess it is still an enjoyable time. Riding on trains is a fun activity, plus you do get to use mech suits again, which always automatically makes the level a little bit easier. Frost Walrus has one of my favorite stages in the game due to all the references to other Ice Mavericks, but the stage is actually fairly challenging for an ice level. Now, for a regular level, it is still a bit easy on average, but I mean, come on, this is an ice level, give it a break! The mini-boss is pretty easy too, but if you have low health and no lives or something, it can be a big obstacle. But I mean, if you would just subscribe already, you would be able to handle it just fine. Web Spider, I'm pretty sure, is meant to be the first level you go to in this game, and if that's the case, I would not be surprised because this level is pretty easy. Though I wouldn't call it the easiest despite having the first stage vibe the entire way through. Storm Owl has an easy stage as well, but it's also boring, which means it will become harder and harder to focus on your gameplay as the stage progresses, making it not the easiest stage. Now you're probably thinking, whoa, 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 you just said every dang stage and not one of them are the easiest? How is that possible? Well, it's not, because I didn't say every dang stage, you nerd. We still have the Sigma stages to cover. The first Sigma stage is pretty run-of-the-mill as far as Sigma stages typically go, and my only critique is to please have less annoying spiky balls next time. I hate those things. We all do. But Sigma 2 and 3 are a different story. They are both these extremely short sections meant mostly to be used as a rest area in between giant boss fights, but they're both so easy that they're hard to compare. I would say it's a tie, but I don't like doing that, so I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say Sigma Stage 2 is the easiest. And I'm not gonna tell you how I decided that because you don't need to know. All you do need to know is that Sigma 2 is the easiest level from Mega Man X4. With the Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 titles out of the way, it is of course time to take on the Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2 titles. Haha. Alright, what are we waiting on? Let's go. Oh, what? Does there have to be a funny every time? Really? Does there really have to be a funny every time? Alright, what if I don't wanna, huh? What if I don't wanna come up with a funny this time, huh? Then what? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if I don't do a funny this time, huh? What? What could you possibly do? Mega Man X5, the first game in the Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2, the second game on the PlayStation 1, and the fifth game in the Mega Man X series. I love this game a lot more than most other people seem to, but the levels in this game are just all over the place. I'll go ahead and let you know that Squid Adler's level is not the easiest. Not only is the bike section horrible, and not only does it still haunt my nightmares to this very day, or night, but also even the parts after the motorcycles is horrible. And even the boss fight is horrible. But we're not, we're of course not talking about the boss fights, so let's move on. The Skyver stage is also pretty horrible. It's not necessarily the hardest stage, but it certainly is not easy. The worst part about this stage is the unnecessary abundance of bombs. I'm not sure who designed this stage, but I want an apology on my desk by tomorrow morning. Duff McWhalen has an underwater auto-scroller, which are two of the worst words to ever grace the platforming genre of video games, and Crescent Grizzly stage is a ripoff of Slash Beast stage, just like Crescent Grizzly himself. Matrix's stage is pretty annoying, but it's actually one of my guilty pleasures in Mega Man X5. I do hate waiting around for the stupid fire to go away, but at the same time, it does kind of look and feel cool, so I don't mind it all that much. This stage is definitely not the easiest though, especially with that stupid mini-boss. Axel the Red has a beautiful plant-based stage, and I love this stage a lot. It's certainly on the easier side of Mega Man X5 stages, but the enemies are actively forcing me to call it anything other than the easiest stage from Mega Man X5, so maybe I'll call it something else in another video. Dark Dizzy stage is stupid and I hate it. Yes, the nighttime is beautiful, and yes, I love the constellations, but who gave these stupid bats the authority to wield insta-kill spikes? You can't do that! You can't just give anyone and everyone insta-kill spikes, that's ridiculous! Please, someone regulate these things for goodness sake! Izzy Glow stage feels like it should be the fanciest level in Mega Man X5, but I would not call this thing the easiest. It has a few difficult moments, and overall I would not call it hard or anything, but yeah, this level is not easy. With the Mavericks out of the way though, this surprisingly once again leaves us with the Sigma stages. Sigma 1 has the infamous Quickman lasers return, and if that wasn't hard enough for you, they even brought back the Yellow Devil. And I'm still not considering the boss fights for this video of course, but as you can see, this level has no chill. Sigma 2 has more platforming than Sigma 1, but Sigma 3 on the other hand is really short and lacks almost any challenge. There are spikes everywhere, so I guess if you aren't careful with your jumps, you can easily miss and end up dead, but in general, I feel like people have died less on this level than any other level in Mega Man X5. So yeah, for that reason, Sigma 3, or the level before the Zero fight, is the easiest level from Mega Man X5. Mega Man X6 is maybe the hardest Mega Man X game of all time, so let's hurry up and find the easiest level before everyone just gives up. I'll go ahead and let you know none of the Sigma levels in this game are going to be easy, so let's go ahead and get them out of the way. Sigma 1 is where all spikes go after they die, and I wouldn't dare attempt this stage without the blade armor. Sigma 2 is just stupid. It is rather short overall, but the difficulty is far too high to even joke about this one being the easiest level. And Sigma 3 is even stupider. It has all the challenges from the last two Sigma stages, but this one even has a crusher, and this thing will crush Mega Man like a tin can, so please stay away from it. Commander Yammark stage has spikes everywhere, as well as a few other annoying obstacles, so it's not going to be the easiest, but I do always use this stage to do the Zero invincibility glitch, so there is that at least, but I'll talk more about that whenever I do the best glitch from every Mega Man X game video. Rainy Turtleoid stage may be one of the hardest stages of all time, so I wouldn't dare joke around and call this thing easy. Maybe if it wasn't raining all the time, or I don't know, maybe if it let me see, then I wouldn't be saying that, but I think we all know this stage is super hard. Blaze Heatnix's stage has fun moments, but it has more donuts than a cop on break. Except these aren't the good kind of donuts. These are the kind of donuts that make you feel depressed, and more importantly, the type of donuts that make you want to stop playing Mega Man X6 and literally play anything else. And I don't like those kind of donuts. I like the donuts with sprinkles on them and icing. Metal Shark Player's entire stage is one big squishing press, and I like this stage a lot. I think it is incredibly fun, but this one is actually fairly hard. Timing when you can make progress without getting greedy and going too far is honestly an art form that I could make an entire video essay on, but I'll save us all the trouble of having to endure that. Infinity Majinion stage might be the coolest stage in Mega Man X6, but those stupid enemies and the mini-boss just make it way too hard to be the easiest. This design is one of the coolest things ever though. I can't believe that giant thing in the background actively wants to kill me. I feel so honored. Shield Sheldon stage is easy in terms of platforming and enemies and everything, but my brain is far too small to be tasked with solving these puzzles. So why I'm saying this stage is far too hard. Ground Scaravage probably has the second easiest stage in this game, and maybe even the easiest as far as platforming goes, but the problem is the enemy spawns in this level may be the worst of all time. This stupid nightmare enemy has no spawn limit, and the game really tries as hard as it can to prove itself wrong with that, so Ground Scaravage is getting away with the easiest level for now. This means the easiest level from Mega Man X6 is Blizzard Wolfang's level. I mean, it's an ice level. I'm not sure what you guys expected at this point, but you should have caught on to the trend by now. I will say this is one of the harder ice levels as far as Mega Man X goes, but overall, I just think this level is pretty easy. Mega Man X6 in general is a pretty hard game, so if you have trouble with this level, do not feel bad, but I still think Blizzard Wolfang's stage is the easiest level from Mega Man X6. So if you're having trouble with it, maybe subscribe, maybe get good, maybe stop being bad. I don't know. One of those will work, I promise. I don't know which one, but if you try all three, there's no way you'll still lose. Trust me, I promise. Mega Man X7 is a game most of my audience does not enjoy according to my viewer retention analytics, so I'm going to speedrun this entry for once. The easiest level from Mega Man X7 is definitely Ride Borsky's level. I mean, come on, it's just a Mario Kart track disguised as a Mega Man level. My first try playing this casually, I did not understand the controls and got turned around several times, but I still managed to beat it without dying, and I got all of the optional items and all the optional Reploids. So yeah, this is definitely the easiest level from Mega Man X7. Mega Man X8, the final Mega Man X game ever released, is actually famous for having a ton of auto-scrollers. And I don't like auto-scrollers at all, but auto-scrollers are usually pretty easy, so at least there's that. I will go ahead and let you know, the Sigma stages are all hard in this game, so they will not qualify for this video, but I'm not even going to go over them because this is the last Mega Man X game ever released, and I don't want to spoil the entire series for anyone who hasn't beat it yet. It's not because I am too lazy or anything. That would be stupid. Avalanche Yeti stage is probably the easiest bike stage in all of Mega Man X aside from the Mario Kart track for Mega Man X7, but this one is still pretty frustrating. It is an ice level, so I guess there is that, but I am not calling this level the easiest. I refuse. Bamboo Pandemonium's level is easier just because you're in ride armor the entire time, but this one is not the easiest either. Burn Rooster stage is an auto-scroller, which is obviously depressing. You do have to escape this stage Metroid style once you beat Burn Rooster though, which is pretty unique and a fun time. However, it's not easy to do anything after you just wasted all of your energy defeating a Maverick, so this level is not the easiest. I mean, come on, what if you weren't looking at the TV, you got up to go pee or something only to return to a game over screen? That would be abysmal! Gigabolt Mano War stage is really annoying. I love how it looks, I think it's one of the most beautiful stages ever, and I even like the concept of chasing down this Maverick, but the gameplay is just frustrating. I wouldn't call this the hardest stage, but only a madman would call it the easiest. And the angry video game nerd is down the hall and to the right. Optic Sunflower's level is super unique and fun with the split paths thing going on, but scoring perfectly in every single training room can be annoying if you're a noob or something. And of course, I'm not a noob or anything, but I just wanted to have sympathy for all the people who aren't subscribed to me, you know? We all know those guys are noobs. Not me. I'm not a noob. What? Who said I was a noob? Dark Mantis' stage really emphasizes the dark in Dark Mantis because someone is messing with the lights the entire time, and it is not Nosferatu. The level itself is not too hard, of course, but it is too hard to see, and that counts, so this level is not easy. Earthrock Trilobite has another auto-scroller, but this time you're being chased by a big scary robot, and that's not easy to deal with, are you kidding me? Gravity Antonian stage is one of the easiest as far as platforming and enemies go, but this is a big fat puzzle level, and I've been trying to tell you guys my brain is small, so it would probably take me weeks to beat this dang level, so it's not the easiest either. Welp, that's all the Mavericks, and not one of their levels was the easiest. Now, you're probably thinking, hey, you gotta pick a level as the easiest, what are you doing? This is your job! Well, I did. I just lied earlier about it not being a Sigma level, because Elevator Jacob is the easiest level by far from Mega Man X8. I mean, it's literally just a vertical elevator going up. That's it. I go in vertical elevators all the time in real life, and that always goes well, so why would this be any different? Yeah, sorry for trolling you guys at the beginning of this entry, I guess, but we all know Elevator Jacob is the easiest level from Mega Man X8. Those were the easiest levels from every Mega Man X game, X through X8. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed, and double hopefully some of you noobs out there are finally able to take on some of those Mega Man X titles. That'd be nice, huh? But weirdly, I've always thought that even though the Mega Man X titles are clearly more extreme than the classic series, the classic series has just always felt plain harder, if that makes sense. I don't know, is that weird?